live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Strawn.
And this is episode 60!
What did you think of Mantis?
Actually, well, let me tell people what it's about.
Okay, here we go.
A brilliant wheelchair-bound scientist invents a form of exoskeleton called Mantis, which stands for Mechanically Augmented Neurotransmitter Interception System. Whew. This Mantis turns him into a superhero, and it gives him the ability to walk and fight crime.
Right.
Why did I say it like that? And fight.
Crime.
I sound like William Shatner.
And fight what?
And fight crime.
Crime. And fight crime.
Fight the crime wave that's engulfing the city. So, what did I think of it? Well, okay. First, I was obsessing over Meteor Man because I watched this about a month ago.
Meteor Man?
It actually came out in 1993. And it was this guy that was a professor, I think. And he got hit by a meteor, and he ended up getting these special powers. So it's a little different kind of plot, but it had similarities, I think. And then I kept thinking of other movies that it was related to, like Dark Man. It reminded me of Dark Man, the beginning of it, with the music and the way the credits were and everything. Reminded me of Dark Man.
Well, it's the same people, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. So it came across
Sam Raimi's company, Renaissance.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Come on.
Okay, I'm a dumbass.
You should put that together.
I remember reading that.
It was done at the same time.
Well, I remember reading that on IMDb. I was like, oh, Sam Raimi. And then I was like, okay. But so basically it's a low budget. It came across to me as a lower budget version of Dark Man, I guess.
Oh, gotcha.
If that makes any sense. Which is okay. I'm fine with it being low budget.
Yeah.
And I really like the low budget qualities of it.
You know what I thought was kind of funny is that its look was still TV. I'm not sure that I loved the DP work, but then part of that is, and I know that I didn't like it at the time either.
Well, one thing I was thinking was it was shot for TV, obviously, and
it was shot for TV.
In the 90s, TV wasn't what it was now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, I mean,
the definition is way low.
Yeah, I mean the definition, but also the way they shot it, and also the attitude towards TV, I think, wasn't as.
Yeah, it was. You know what they used to say? They used to say that if you wanted to make art, do a movie. If you wanted to buy a house, do TV.
Right. Well, so I had to remind myself that this was made for TV movies because I think you approach it differently when you're thinking about it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it was a pilot. Was it supposed to be a pilot for?
It was a pilot. It was a pilot for a series. Yeah. No, it was definitely a pilot. It was a 2-hour pilot for a series.
And pilots are more like a test. Really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, I didn't really analyze it too much for that reason.
See, and here's the difference between a movie and TV. When you get to Friday, right, and the director comes up and says you're going to shoot on a Saturday, and says I hate the color of set that we're going to be using on Saturday. Can you paint it blue? And you go to the PM, the production manager, and on a movie, you're going to have a serious discussion. You'll all sit down and there's going to be the question of what you're going, what is the most important element for the film. If you're working in TV, it's not even a question. Right. If you're working in TV, the PM is going to look at you and go, you do realize that we're the fluffy shit in between the commercials, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I've had them describe that to me several times.
So that's what I'm saying. Like nowadays, it'd be like,
oh yeah, it's completely different. This is complete. Well, the thing is also the limitations of the equipment compared to the equipment they have now. It's just astounding. I mean, the difference between... See, all of that stuff was on tape, too.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is that was actually filmed. There's an interesting story behind how we shot Mantis. Mantis was shot with one of the first video capture cameras. And by video capture, I don't mean just for playback. I mean video capture that was of a high enough quality that they could edit the video out. They could edit with that video, or they could edit with the digital image that they got.
Right.
So
okay.
it was the first that could edit into a nonlinear
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
nonlinear situation, right? So thing is, though, for the final release, what they would do is they would cut the 35 mm. They would make it one print and then cut it off of exactly the same marks that they put on through all the editing with the video.
Wow.
That makes a huge difference. You have no idea. It was mind-blowing. The editors were going crazy. And when we started, everything worked great.
When you started.
But what we did is almost immediately we stopped. You know that thing that you say to yourself in the first week, of a new job, right? Well, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and it's like, no more drinking during the week, right?
Right. No more drinking at lunch.
And on week 3, it's just like 2 beers in the morning, and that's it. That's as much as I'm going for. So, what happened is we were saying to ourselves, we'll develop the film, every day. But we know what it's coming like, so we're going to start editing it ahead of time. And so we started editing while we were filming, while we were shooting. And here was the odd thing, is after a while you just get damn lazy. And you stop going to dailies, and you stop having dailies. And for the last week, we didn't have dailies at all. Well, it was a brand new camera. Right? I mean, the cameras were just hot property, and I think that we actually got all kinds of discounts on them, because nobody had used them before. And a funny thing, the shutters slipped. Like on the main camera, number 1 camera, the shutters slipped at the very beginning of the last week. So it wound up being, collectively, we had to reshoot 3 days. And we didn't find out until we were just starting to wrap the sets. And all of a sudden, somebody comes in and goes, "Okay, you guys, freeze." And
freeze. Excellent choice of words.
No, I swear to God, he was.
Sorry.
Yeah, with M.A.N.T.I.S. Yeah, and it was funny because it was this PA and he was a PA. His first job had been M.A.N.T.I.S, and so by the end of it, he was just a cocky little shit. Yeah, I mean. It's what happens, It's like, you want to go, you know what, the actual truth is, dude, that they, you're so new that they don't even trust you with a radio. So
this is why you would embellish your resume.
That's right. Exactly. This is what, like me, you'd put that first 5 years on. So he comes in and he says, "Okay, everybody just freeze, move away from your tools." Okay. And we sat for 2 days while they tried to figure out what had happened. Then they came back and said, "Okay, you have to go back and reassemble the sets exactly like they were." And here's the big problem. The big problem is they had already edited 95% of it, and they wanted everything shot and put the sets. They wanted everything to look exactly like it did the first time. And when I say exactly, they literally had the playback to pull up
Wow.
the screen.
That's crazy.
And they could lay a screen on top of the screen. In other words, you could literally look in the camera and you could see the layout of the screen against what you were shooting.
How far did you get from breaking the set down? I mean, how far gone was it?
Well, it doesn't take long to break out on set, let me tell you.
Right, a couple nails here and there.
I think it took us 3 days to put it back together.
Oh, wow.
And we had only been taking it apart like for 4 hours or something like that.
Well, you're all ready to go at that point.
Oh yeah, well, sets come apart really fast. I mean, the thing is most of the time, if you were doing small TV shows and stuff, you could go in and they would give you 2 days for strike, on the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And the agreement would always be, we'll give you those 2 days. You take as long as you want to get the strike done. And most of the time you'd walk away a half day.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because you could get that fast at it. So anyway, so we have to film for 3 days exactly what we did the first time. Now, if you have a job where you do something repetitive, that's a wonderful thing. You get good at being repetitive. If you have a job where the mere idea of doing the same thing that you just did is so antithetic to everything that you stand for, and you got 60 or 70 people that are doing this, let me tell you something. I got in an argument on the second day with the production, the PM, over the silliest piece of crap. I can't even remember what it was about now, but I know that he and I were yelling at each other nose to nose, and the weird thing about it was probably the 10th argument that had happened that day on stage with everybody watching. I mean, we were at each other's throats. It was horrendous. I never want to do that kind of thing again. That was just it was a 1 in a million, because it's just not something that would ever really happen. And I gotta tell you, it's ugly. It's so ugly.
Wow.
But as a review and looking at the film, I liked it. I thought it looked really good. I
think so.
The production is. I thought the production,
whoever did the
production design was amazing.
Did you see where I was going with I guess I was just saying things. It reminded me of a lot of other things. I'm not saying it was derivative of anything else.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of RoboCop, of Darkman.
Oh yeah, no, it was all of those. But
$6 Million Man.
But you know what else?
I mean,
the thing is, and I was talking to Daryl on Retro Movie Geeks, right? About this is you had, and we were kind of careful about this. We had street gangs, but they were more like social societies, and we very carefully removed all the graffiti.
They seem more like the street gangs you see in like Michael Jackson videos,
right?
Like,
exactly,
Beat It,
exactly. But we took the graffiti off of all the walls.
Oh, I didn't even think of that,
because I've had this particular problem with movie graffiti is the worst.
What about like Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo? Wasn't there graffiti in that movie?
It was all done by the art department, though. It was all approved. See, that's the thing.
That's the problem, right?
Oh my God, you have no idea. The thing is you just can't put gang graffiti into a film. I mean, they're just
right. Yeah,
they wouldn't. They wouldn't let you.
Have shootings probably in the theater, probably.
Well, absolutely.
Especially back then.
No, back then especially. And the thing is so what you would do is you would do this awful white person's graffiti. That was it. The thing is
smiley faces,
white,
rainbows.
Like Phil's got a boner. I mean, like it's just terrible. Oh man. And so I kind of decided that as opposed to doing that and we were gonna clean it up by just doing patches, and we just did these just patches all over the place.
Yeah.
Of different various colors and stuff. And
that didn't even register with me. There wasn't.
But if you look back, you'll see it.
I'll notice it now.
It wasn't there.
Another one was Do the Right Thing. And do you know why? Because it's like the whole social conscience at that time. Like, Do the Right Thing was all about racial tension and all that stuff.
Right.
So
exactly.
that was in 1989, which is
just
real
close to within a couple of years. Yeah.
But yeah, this one was like around when Different World was on, right after Cosby.
Right. Exactly.
And it's kind of that same kind of social message, I guess. But it's like I like this because there were only 2 white people in there, and they're both assholes, basically.
Yeah, basically they were.
And there was a lot of affirmative action, kind of like I remember when the scientist. Her boss was basically, even though she had a PhD and she was really smart.
Right.
He was like, well, you're just like what's the word? What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Uncle Tom is what you're.
No, you're an affirmative action hire.
Right.
It's like
and did you notice this? Is he was right wing?
Yes.
He was very conservative.
Yeah.
And the thing is part of the battle in the end was kind of within him. That his conservatism was like fighting his conscience in a weird way, and I thought the script was great in that way. I thought the script was really, really good.
And there was a weird line where he said to the woman that was his assistant,
right.
If you don't like it, I'll send you on a boat to Africa.
Right, exactly. It was.
I mean, that was just interesting that they worked that in there.
And the thing is with him being really right, and then the left, and then the good guy that we thought was good, being maybe not so good. And
I think I questioned him the whole time.
yeah,
pretty much,
well,
but-
it's but and there was just so much that I liked about it. I loved the darts.
I will say I liked it a lot better than a lot of the things that were out at that time, like the Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, those are. I guess Spider-Man's a lot earlier. It's like 70s,
Yeah,
but
Spider-Man
I mean,
was,
it had that kind
terrible.
of a little bit of tinge of like cheese to it, but it
Right.
wasn't bad.
What was TV? I mean,
but it was still kind of dark, and I think if it wasn't TV,
yeah.
you could have made it even darker. You know what I mean?
Right. I'll tell you something that I did not point out to the boys of Retro Movie Geek. It's the car.
Oh, the car.
The red car. No.
I have a reference for the car.
Yeah?
Batman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, of course. Really.
You stole that from Batman.
I was. Thank you. No. I was thinking about the there was a VW Bug that got blown up.
Yeah, the red one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bought
I used to have a Bug like
I bought that Bug for $50
Wow.
and took it home and scrubbed it all up. And I left the paint completely burned out, and then gave it to my daughter.
Are you serious?
It was her first car.
left it
was
burned out.
great. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my first car was a 1974 Super Beetle. It was
Well,
a
there you
green
go.
one, and
There
I
you
loved
go.
it. And I made the mistake of selling it.
Well, there
when I
you
was
go.
in high school. I
Yeah,
was like,
lucky. But also some of the stuff that we did for that show was like just so cool in the lair.
I actually really liked the car, by the way. I mean, I have to point that out.
Yeah. No, I thought the car was. I
did have one question. So this guy's brilliant scientist. I get that. He
Right.
built the suit and everything.
Right.
But was he that good to build his own flying car? Or it's like I didn't really get where the flying car came from.
The funny thing is, he was probably like me because I did quick sketches and said I kept saying, look, basically what we want to do is we want to take a 67 Riviera, boat tail Riviera, and stretch it like this, and take the boat tail and go over the top like that, and make the wheel wells pontoons and
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
And basically that's what we did.
Oh yeah, somebody said it's one hell of an options package or something.
Yeah, right.
What?
that's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, and but there was a weird part in the script that went way too far. Was that the sheriff's department has machine guns in their helicopters?
Yes.
And I thought that was fishy, but the fact that he doesn't have any
Right.
offensive weapons was a little bit odd. But then to top it off, they had air-to-air missiles. I was like, okay, that's
It was
just going
it
too
was
far.
over the top.
That's over the top.
It was like
you
Blue
know?
Thunder or something. But
Yeah,
So,
he got a little crazy.
he was
right
basically
there.
the Black Batman because
Yeah,
he had the darts, he had the little
but you know
cable.
what? But the thing is this. Also, look at his outfit. We were doing the stylish guy, you know?
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's got that tie on.
It was
You
a
know,
cool
we
outfit.
didn't.
I like how he got dressed in his suit. That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
he wasn't out there. There.
Which
he
Total
was,
Recall,
He
I think,
was
ripped that off,
presenting.
didn't they?
He was presenting. You know that tie with the stripes and all the rest
Yeah.
of it. You know,
Yeah.
I thought he really looked good. I mean, I thought that was a great thing.
I think I had some issues with the mask a couple times, but
Yeah, the mask was kind of.
I got over
It was
it.
a little bit too wide.
it just showed too much of his face too.
Well, yeah, but I think the width of it to me bothered me because it. But I guess it did. I was just gonna say it was wide. Made him look like a bug.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah, I know. Duh.
I don't know if you realize, but there's
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But also the way that we did the darts was hilarious. What we did is we took a piece of plexiglass and we glued the dart to the plexiglass, and then we just made it track that we could just push it along this track, and plexiglass, and we just like go outside and light it.
Yeah.
Light it, and then run it past the camera, and the camera tried and follow it like that, and it's those following. And the funny thing is that's slow. It's way slower than something like that would have to travel to actually work. But the great thing about it is you actually get to see the whole thing moving through the air, and it's kind of cool because it's got its style.
That's
You
right.
know, like
Yeah.
it had the style along with everything else.
I like the 1950s kind of effect where they were being hypnotized and the lights were kind of flashing on them. And I kept thinking of these old 1950s sci-fi movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. My particular favorite was when the station manager woman
Yeah.
starts talking with Mantis's voice.
Yes.
That was pretty amazing. That was like, I'm not sure that we have enough technology to pull that off.
Right. It was almost like borderline making fun of the whole like superhero genre, I felt, but it was like kind of dancing on the edge there. And I felt it was kind of slow, but it was not too slow, and there's enough action in it to keep me interested. So
Yeah.
I think as a whole, I like this movie for a lot of different reasons. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Me too.
So.
I liked it a lot. I would.
And I think when you watch these movies, you have to think about when it's made. I mean, it's really important.
Yeah, no, it totally, because TV back then was, and the limitations on TV were
There's just
a
so
lot
many
heavier.
references that you wouldn't get if you didn't think about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like shoulder pads.
For instance, I think that I would give it probably 3 3/4 mantises straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I'd probably give it 3.5.
yeah, just about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but I thought this production design was a solid 5.
And I agree with Daryl that they ruined it.
Oh yeah. After this, the rest of the series, just piece of crap.
And actually, it's probably because they didn't have Mick Strawn on the set.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
So yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Unless you have any other fantastic things about
No, it's there's I have a lot of stories of
she is
that,
hot in
but
person.
I just want to say that if you want to hear some more stories about Mantis, that you can go to Retro Movie Geek, and they've got me talking for just about Mantis for like an hour and 20 minutes.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
And I'm a fan of I'll share it on YouTube and everything.
Oh
so,
yeah, we should actually do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're all done with this turkey. What do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
What does a praying mantis sound like? Thank you for listening to the Dream Warrior Review. As always, you can reach us at Gmail at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at DW Review, and of course, we're on Facebook. Until next time.